Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast. We're on to episode 76, which means it's time to guess the shirt number. Do you know who it is?
No. But
I'll give you a clue. He scored with his first touch.
Jack Aitchison.
Jack Aitchison, there you go. He wore it, and obviously the couple of seasons he managed to rack up first team appearances. His last, Ronnie Dyler's last game against Motherwell, the 7-0. Ringing any bells? Anybody there that day?
I know, I remember the game.
There you go, Jack Aitchison's the player, number 76. We're slowly getting to the end now of the players that we can list off, because we've got somebody for 77, we've got a couple for 77, then we've got 84, then we've got 88, 93 and 99. That's it. So
Buzzing.
not many episodes. You seem buzzing, mate.
I feel buzzing.
Welcome back. Hello, we're here post St Johnstone. We're going to talk all about it. It's the first time we've recorded directly after a game in a long time. I couldn't tell you the last time we've done that. It's also the first time we've recorded on a Sunday in a long time as well. The Lord's Day. I've dragged you out your beds to come and do the podcast.
On the Sabbath.
On the Sabbath. Both of you seem pleased.
I'm not rough for a change.
You're not rough, but somebody at the other end of the table's rough.
Somebody had to do it, didn't they?
Somebody had to keep the gimmick up. I've had enough at weekend. Can I believe it? No drink for me.
I can't say the same, but I was fine yesterday.
Well, that's good. How are you doing anyway, Kieran? I'll introduce you first. Good weekend. Enjoy yourself.
I know it was a good weekend. Fucking good result to finish it off as well.
Yeah, exactly. Aye. And Callum, you were out last night partying to the wee hours.
Stupid times, but I feel too old for it now.
Is that
I
you?
turned 22 the other week. I feel too old for it.
You passed it?
I think it must be.
Hanging up the boots.
Aye, but as Kieran said, nice result to round off the weekend.
Absolutely. A 4-1 win for Celtic today at Perth and St Johnstone. Well, at St Johnstone in Perth, I should say. McDermott Park, much better off than the last time we were there, where we left it very, very late, to say the least, to get the 3 points today. It was over and done with within 15-20 minutes, it seemed. So we're going to talk all about it. There's obviously a lot to dive through, and what was a game that keeps us 9 points clear ahead of Rangers. So that's the main thing. Kieran, I'll start with you. What do you make of the game today?
I mean, apart from them scoring an absolute brief goal, I mean, apart from that, we were in cruise control, I thought. In the second half, we really weren't the same as the first half of it, but we got it finished in the first half, really. I mean, you never really had much doubt going into that second half that, I mean, St Johnstone weren't going to score like another goal with that again. They weren't really getting too much of a chance. Pretty happy with everybody in the park. Maybe a couple of players you could say had a quiet game, but even then the rest of them stepped up to the mark. And Aaron MOOY, what is he on right now, man?
He seems to be playing like the best player in the country at the minute, to put it bluntly. Like, he's just been that good. We're going to come on to talking about him a bit more. But today, the goal that he scores is just lovely.
Top
draw stuff. A nice baldy man. I was going to say top draw stuff, a top draw man, but then it's like, does that make sense? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what he's personally like.
Quiet.
Judging if his interviews are dull as dishwater.
But he's not got that in the park. That's the main thing. Callum, I'll come to you. What was your thoughts today? It's always nice when Celtic get off to a flyer. You know, we got the goal early. I think it was 14 minutes into the game or so where Considine put us in the lead. But it's nice because I think there's a lot of away games sometimes you've got to sit, you've got to bide your time. But as I said, after 20 minutes, you know, the game was essentially done, and I like it when we get the business done early.
100%. I mean, definitely comparing it to the last time we were up there, and obviously leaving it to last kick of the ball, is nice to have sort of the result done nice and early, because you know with teams like St Johnstone, the longer it goes on without scoring, the more and more they just continue to sit in and just defend the box.
I mean, St Johnstone today, to be fair to them, I thought they were having a right good go at points in the game. Obviously, they got that goal, as you mentioned, Kieran, but I think that throughout the first half in particular, they looked like a side a bit different in their approach. I thought they were trying to do something. They were open a little bit more, and maybe that's how Celtic found the chances early on, Kieran.
I mean, I think because they were at home, but they need to try and make a go at it, didn't they? So I mean, it's not like when they came to Celtic Park and it was comfortably 3-0 at half time. I mean, it was a comfortable performance for us, to be fair, but you could tell they weren't just gone out to sit and defend the day. I mean, they had a wee bit of something about them, but obviously once you get that first goal, the heats go down for them a wee bit and you can sort of dig in and get the performances. But see, just like Andy Considine, 600th appearance in his career.
Might be his worst.
Definitely up there. That was horrendous. He got fucking the own goal,
The red card.
fucked it for the second goal, and then the red card.
I mean, you could see his face as he walked off the park. Do you know what it looked like to me? It looked like the face of a man who's done. It looks like he's just ready to hang up. You know, he's like,
Surely he's got to hang up.
I mean, 600 appearances is far better than what most players get to in their careers. Like, I think that at that point you do need to seriously consider the time. I mean, Callum, we were playing fives the other night, and his performance was resembling to me at the back.
I know. I think it was definitely a very poor game for him. But actually, I mean, you touched on 600 games. Obviously, it does catch up with you in a sense, and I can tell he's past that. I think.
Can he no longer boogie? The boogieing is over.
I actually forget it was him in that video.
Do you know what? I'm glad that part has died. It was. Do you know, I'm pretty fucking sick of that song.
There's a pure fever dream part I think about that, but like, during COVID and that.
Honestly, I every time I listen to just a bit of side information, I listen to Gold Radio, which is your 60s, your 70s, your 80s. It's all the classics, right? And every time, yes sir, I Can Boogie comes on, I turn the station. I can't listen to it anymore. It genuinely does my head in.
I know, it did kind of get the arse ripped right out of it.
Booting the arse right out of it. Let's talk about some individual performances in the game. Obviously, the main one being Aaron Mooy. Callum, Kieran's briefly touched on him, but the way that he has come on to such a good game, it's unbelievable, isn't it? He's been so good. It looks like such a natural, and you can really see the quality of player that he is. Your ears hunting there, son.
You fucking talking.
Sorry. I know I'm a bit.
I told you to turn the fucking.
I did turn my mic down.
Apparently, but you've turned yourself up.
Turn your headset. Just take it off if you want.
No, it's fine.
You should, aye.
I'll just suffer.
All right, that's fine. But Cal, he's came on. It's such a game. He's been unbelievable, and he's shown the qualities of the Premier League player that we knew we were signing. You know, people had their doubts at first, but I think he's a prime example of why you need to be patient with the signings that we make.
100%. I mean, I think it does just go to show you how good he actually is. Because obviously, first couple of games, I wasn't overly impressed with him. I would say I thought, it does look as if he's past it, but I think he's like 6 goals in like 10 games or something. Something like that. He's been phenomenal since.
I think the fitness levels was what was holding him back at the start because he was blown at his arse fucking after 10 minutes the first few games. But you know, there's always a player in there. So I think it was about patience. But I mean, even when we signed him, but I don't think I immediately put him in the same brackets like a James McCarthy signing. But I think there was a lot of people fearing that just because it's like ex-Premier League player, supposedly past his best, but he's came up and proved they rang. After back here, a good World Cup for Australia, and he's not looked back since.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. Obviously, we signed him when he was in a bit of a predicament. He was coming over from China. He hadn't played a lot of football due to, obviously, situations out with his control. It was a gamble. But Ange Postecoglou believed in the signing and obviously worked with him in the past in the Australian national side. I think that's the thing here. We're now seeing, you know, the belief that the manager has installed in him reflected in his play, because he's playing like a guy with confidence, with belief, and he's given us ultimately what he was good at Huddersfield, at Brighton. We're seeing similarities of that Aaron Mooy.
I mean, it's mental, because I mean, even just his vision on the pitch and that, some of the passes like pinging, like even like the pure long range, man, it's just the delicate wee ones through the gaps that other players can't see. I mean, obviously you've got Hatate, who's very similar to that. He's got really good vision and pretty good execution when it comes to it, but no, his stellar performances for him, like, he's absolute cruising it. Fagging slippers.
That's it, exactly. Fagging the slippers out. You know what? I'm glad that he has come on to such a game, because I like that. Even me, I wasn't overly convinced by the signing, but I certainly wasn't as negative as what some of us were either. I was very like, okay, if he does a job, he does a job, that's good, we'll sign him in a 1 year contract. There aren't many negatives, but now I think we're at the point, Callum, where most Celtic fans are desperate for him to see this extension signed.
Oh, 100%. I think it's nice to have that extra option. I think, as Kieran touched on, like with the wee passes, it was either the first or the second goal, and he just takes it and just do a wee half turn and just slips it through. Ball comes, I think it was the second, and just slips it through to Jota. I think it's played across. Just keeps getting better and better, it feels, and at the age of 32, it's doesn't look as if he's slowing down anytime soon.
See, an interesting point I was thinking about, because it was like the other day on Twitter I seen people talking about, like, I think it was a Huddersfield page, like, where does Aaron Moy rank in players you've seen in your lifetime at Huddersfield? And see, it's been so many years since he was actually playing for them, like, week in, week out, and it was like, so many of them were saying probably why the best of it, or saying that.
I mean, it's probably no disrespect to Huddersfield, but they've never been a big club.
I know, but then I've seen it, but I just didn't think that they rated him as highly as that. Like, but, I mean, obviously we're seeing how good a player he is now, but it just kind of took me back a wee bit, because I didn't really think they'd thought of him that highly, but went on loan to them, then he was shit hot, then they actually signed him when they got to the Premier League. But, nah, absolute player.
I mean, you could say he was the key part to the promotion success. You know, he was an integral part of that team, and I think that for as much as he's a quiet guy, he certainly has an influence in the park. You can see that, you know, the way that he commands the midfield. You know, I think it's quite deceiving, in fact, his personality. I think a lot of people don't expect him, but I imagine at Lennox Town he's probably right up for it. Imagine him and like Turnbull and McCarthy, they three were actually like the most chatty.
No, it was like, mind all the stuff people saying, like, oh, you shot in that, saying James McCarthy was the funniest in the squad. I'm like, fuck off.
I couldn't imagine having a conversation with James McCarthy. How does that go?
Imagine we got James McCarthy, Aaron Moy and David Turnbull into the podcast.
Oh, jeez, oh.
Fucking silence.
Just me talking. Alright, boys, how you doing? Great, thanks. But he's, as Callum said, he's getting better and better as he gets bolder and bolder. He is.
Aaron Moy, a young man improving.
Exactly that. A big influence in today's win for Celtic. Another guy who big influence in today's win for Celtic, Kyogo, who scores his 22nd of the season in all competitions.
19 in the league now,
and that's 10. It's at 11 and 11 now. I think.
I've no went back.
I think it's 11 and 11 now. I'm sure it was 10 and 10 before kick-off. It's now 11 and 11. Now, Callum, before this game on Friday, Ange was asked, interestingly, at the press conference, is Kyogo undroppable? And Ange responded very humbly by saying, no one's undroppable. Like, I've not got favourites. You know, this is we can change things up. I think that I'm not accusing our manager of lying, and I think he's right, but I think he's kind of lying through his teeth a wee bit here, because it seems like he is undroppable at the minute. He's been so good.
Oh, 100%. I think it's, as you said, he comes out and says it like that just so he doesn't seem as bad. But you know, Finn really does have his favourites, but at the same time, how could you drop him?
Aye.
With his goal scoring record, I think he's another one, continues to look to get better and better. I think it would be nice, obviously, if he'd sort of a couple of European goals behind him and that earlier on in the year, but I mean, as long as he continues to kick on for us in the league, that's fine by me.
It makes the exit here of Giakoumakis so much easier, doesn't it, when you know you've got Kyogo just stepping up to the plate. I know we've brought in MOOY anyway, and I don't want to dwell on Giakoumakis too much, but it's happened. This stroke of form for Kyogo has probably come at the perfect time for us.
It came at the perfect time every day that was somehow pushing the narrative that it was fucking shite. Like come back for the World Cup, people hadn't seen Celtic for a couple of months and just ran with the narrative that Kyogo has been fucking awful, and he's shut every why they fucking weirdos up on Twitter, because some of them were absolutely married to the idea that Giakoumakis was the only option for Celtic. Kyogo was not up to it, but he somehow was.
Yep.
And I don't know if any of them are eating the words, or if they're just fucking stuck to their guns and went down with that sinking ship. But nah, Kyogo's unreal. Well, technically in that, I think straight ahead of Giakoumakis. I mean, both of them are really good options, but for the way we want to play, I think it was pretty evident that Kyogo was going to be the main man starting in that. And you've seen Angie's comments about Giakoumakis, but I don't know if it's any bitterness there, but the Instagram comment.
Oh yeah, well, I was going to bring that up a wee bit later on, but continue what you were saying. You got a point from it.
I just think, like, I'm not saying you don't know what's been going on behind the scenes and that, but I think it's been pretty evident that he's been told Kyogo is the main man.
Yep.
I mean, he's a good striker, Giakoumakis, but he's not going to play second fiddle, and I'm not going to hold any bad blood towards him or whatever. I don't know if there's going to be any back and forth in the media when he signs for Atlanta, but we'll fucking see. I
know, it's only a matter of time by the sounds of it, so we'll come on to that though. I was going to kind of wrap up the transfer window and such later on in the episode, so we will come on to it. Don't worry if you want to hear all of our exciting views on the Giakoumakis and Ange beef. But I mean, apart from that, those were the two kind of standout performances from me. I'll kind of open the floor to the rest of the game. A lot of people bringing up Joe Hart and his efforts in the St Johnstone goal. That seems to be a massive talking point. Should he be doing better?
I think he probably could get done a wee bit quicker. But, I mean, it is a powerful shot. I think you could hold too much grudge against that, but I think as the weeks go by to the end of the season, I think that will be something I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't be looking for it, but I think if we're looking to progress further on, I think a new goalkeeper is probably going to be in the back of Angie's mind. Because I think Joe Hart was ever going to come in to be the number one for years. I think that was ever the plan. But I mean, I'm not holding too much against him for that goal. It was a belter, a strike. I mean, he could see it earlier than we originally thought, so he probably could have done a wee bit better. But I'm not going to make a pure meal out of that. Now.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will take that and absolute run mate on Twitter. But
Yeah, Cam, what about you? Your point or your thoughts?
I think Kieran's sort of wrapped up. I think you would like to see him also do that bit better because you know he's got it in him. But I think he'll definitely sort of get into this summer. I think Andrew will start to look towards another goalkeeper. Good bit younger. Also just to sort of see out Joe Hart's time with us. I think we'll see his contract, probably retire from there. And then hopefully phase in a new keeper.
See, this is my thinking towards the whole situation. You know me, honest Joe Hart fan, massive Joe Hart fan. I love him with all my heart, and he defied all expectation. And when he came to Celtic, I think that you'd be silly to deny that he's probably not been as good as maybe what he was last season. But I think a lot of people getting their knickers in a twist today about Hart, and I can understand it, but I think it's just a build of like all the wee things over the course of the season, you know, like the misplaced passes or like, you know, what happened in Leipzig, these wee things, and they are big and they obviously do add up, and I can understand why they accumulate to the extent where people think, okay, we need to change the keeper. But do you know what annoys me though, and this isn't me just blindly defending Joe Hart, because I'm in agreement with you guys. I think we need to now start forward planning, and I think the club will do that, but I think a lot of people forget about the actual. He still made some big saves this season, like some huge saves, and they go under the radar because we're still winning games, we're still scoring goals, and then the wee blips do kind of maybe eclipse it. But he's still pulled out some massive saves for the club this season. I think his worth does go underappreciated because we're so good maybe going forward. And then obviously we've got Vickers and Starfelt who are brilliant. Like I feel like Hart maybe doesn't get the credit he deserves sometimes.
I don't know. I feel like we as a fan base always need something to nitpick about. Yeah. And I think last season it was easy for Joe Hart because he was coming into Celtic at a time where he got a rousing standing ovation for pulling off 2 saves against, like, was it Jablonec or AZ Alkmaar? So I mean, we were starved of any goalkeeping ability the season before. So I don't know if he had a free ride last season that we thought anything above average was decent, but I mean I thought he was brilliant last season. He's had these big moments this season. I do think it's a bit unfair to be pure negative about him. He's had obviously a couple of dodgy moments this season. I mean, that fucking, what was it against, who was it we played at Sellik Park, and it was like the fuck up between him and Juranovic at the back.
Oh, I remember what you're talking about. I can't remember to be played though.
Motherwell or something.
I couldn't tell you.
Months ago, but
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But I mean, there's been a couple of moments, but I think it might be a bit unfair to be proper hounding him for them. But I mean, as you said, I think Ange isn't going to have sentimentality in this team. I think it will be a case of forward planning. And I think Joe Hart knows that as well. I think he's under any illusions that he's going to be the number one until he's old and grey. So
yep.
I don't know. We'll see how it pans out the rest of the season. But I think if there is wee blips, and I think it will definitely put under spotlight, especially if there's nothing else going wrong in the team.
Yep.
If we're going in to win the title.
Because I think a lot of goalkeepers would concede that today. The way he strikes it, got a lot of power, good strike, good connection on target, and he hits it so unexpectedly. I think like the way he brings it down and shoots, I would, if I was a goalkeeper, I wouldn't have expected him to hit it. So I think a delayed sort of reaction is natural, and I would love of McGinley to be on this podcast today, because I seen you know what he's like. He can't hold his wish. He has to tweet every fucking 30 seconds. But he tweeted right after it, talking about how Hart should be saving it or whatever. And I can understand people having that opinion, but I just feel like it's so quick and easy to judge. And then you've got to sit and realise, you know, like it takes some reaction. Some of it, like none of us are saving that, for example. Like,
to be fair, none of us are professional goalkeepers.
Yeah, I know, but like it's just, I don't know. I think it was a good hit. It deserved the goal. But apart from that, the other 2 goals today scored by, well, Considine got the own goal, Kyogo with the second, MOOY with the third, and Turnbull got one right at the end with another outside the box effort. He loves it.
Death taxis Turnbull for outside the box.
Honestly, I feel like I might just start putting it on every time he comes off the bench.
Quite a nice worked free kick. I mean, I think one of the major talking points is how fucking long it took VAR to decide that it was
of course.
Actually, like 3 minutes.
Was it 3 minutes?
I'm sure it was something ridiculous. I fucking felt like 3 minutes anyway. But honestly, I was like, how is this? It's just a fucking piss take at this point.
Aye. How do you think, Callum? How do you think Turnbull feels at the minute? Because that's, I think, 3 goals in 4 games for David Turnbull, but he can't buy a start. Do you think that bothers him?
I I think it definitely will bother him, because as a professional player you do want to be playing as much as possible, but I mean at the same time you look at how good our midfield is, like it's always going to be hard to get in there. Like I think you need to be doing something extra special, i.e. in training and such, sort of like behind the scenes, and then when you're getting on the park and doing it during your time there to try and sort of get yourself more starts. But again, as touched, I think it's because of how good our midfield actually is, it's near impossible to get in it.
It is, and it's just I think it's just a credit to the quality of squad we've actually managed to build.
I've not really been on Twitter too much after the game, but I wonder if there's going to be a repeat. Mind they scored the last time, and everybody's eyes. He's defo what fell out and all that. Like,
because his celebration, his body language.
I've never seen the boy smile.
I know. I remember we always bring. We just spoke about there in a podcast with MOOY, but remember the open goal podcast with David Turnbull? That was.
I know, it was good in that.
Like, he isn't a charismatic character. No offence, Davey. Like, we love you, but I mean, he's hardly full of charisma, is he? So, but aye, anything that I'll open the floor. Anything at all you would like to bring up from today's game against St Johnstone? Anything at all? The rock paper scissors, that was quite funny. That was quite funny. But anything at all? Anything that we've missed?
I don't know. I mean, we were watching we were watching the game. Me and my brother talking about like when O would get brought on as a sub, and I mean like it's sort of hanging into that thing of Kyogo being undroppable. It's like you normally maybe want to bring him on with like half an hour to go or something and give him time to play. But I was thinking when it comes to St Mirren in the cup next week, will you see O getting a chance? Because I don't think he will. I don't think he's going to drop. I think he's going to want to keep the squad playing for the most part together up until the cup final. So
yeah, it's a really good question.
Because I mean, you want to see players getting a chance, but then again, it is the quarterfinals of the Scottish Cup against. I mean, I know it's St Mirren, but at the same time, like you can't be taking it lightly.
Well, even you look at Morton. Like, yeah, we did give players a chance and stuff, but I think that the proof is in the pudding since Ange just came in that he's not been a manager who goes out and rotates heavily for a cup game. Nah. You know, like
he rotated heavily this season against St Mirren in the league and got fucking beat.
Exactly. So I don't know. What do you think? I'm trying to think of an answer here.
I don't know. Also, I would like to see a couple of changes. Obviously, to see O actually getting proper game time in him. Same with like Iwata and such. But again, sort of, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Really.
Mm-hmm. I feel that. I'm not saying that it's going to affect them, but it's like you see players that came in January last year, obviously Hatate and Maeda, and that they earned their place in the squad. And you seen Ideguchi, he was unlucky with injury, but like certain players not getting enough game time and that. And then after it gets to the summer and the new season, if they don't immediately break into the team, then fans begin to worry that have we wasted money on players and that. But I'm hoping that you will start to see a bit more rotation with the likes of Iwata and O getting more minutes. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's going to come right for the start against St Mirren or no, because I don't know if they'd want to maybe bring them on second half or what, but it's just about getting minutes in the legs, I think, for these players, and I think it'd be nice to get O after the mark and a wee bit of confidence.
Yeah, I would like to see O get a goal soon, because I think what we've been used to with Ange is the fact that a lot of attacking players in particular have came in and have scored very, very quickly. So I think that I can already picture social media if it gets to around 5-6 games and O's still no scored. I can already see a few fucking losing their nut about it. But he's not had a great amount of time. And this is the thing. If Kyogo's playing the way he's playing, he's going to have the majority of minutes, which would say to me that between now and the end of the season, O's chances will be limited and his goals will be limited. So I think it's just about, once again, what I said with MOOY, patience is a virtue, and you've just got to be patient with it. But
really profound stuff there.
Thank you. I'm trying my best. I'm not profound enough, I feel sometimes. Callum, anything at all that you missed, or anything that we missed that you thought of in the game?
No, I think we covered.
Do you know what one thing I want to pick up on just before we switch to the next subject and such, and it pisses me off, and me and my dad talk about it every week. St Johnstone obviously protested the whole free stand thing, right? They can't even fucking fill that one stand they've got. I know if a St Johnstone fan is listening to this and they've made it to this point in the podcast, which they've not, I know they've not, right? But if they were to, for any reason, I know what they're going to give it. It's the Derby fucking entitlement, blah blah blah. I just don't see the sense in it. Why do your club out of the? You're going to get beat anyway. You may as well let your team get beat in front of free stands rather than two.
I just they admitted defeat the other season and then they won the cups during the COVID season and went back to thinking that they were going to fill their stadium.
I just think every club in the country should be thinking to themselves, the gate receipts that they could make off of Celtic and Rangers could buy them 2, 3, 4 players.
They moan about the bridge and finances, but they don't want to help it
I know it's stubbornness, and I understand they want to protect their own fans in the sense that they have their home advantage and they can feel comfortable and blah blah blah. But I mean, at the end of the day, Scottish football is, I think, in terms of quality, the lowest it's been in a long time, and the only way it's going to fix is if there is a financial gap that's bridged, and they could help that.
I mean, it's not going to entirely bridge the financial
No, I know it's
gap.
not. It's obviously it's not as if they're pumping millions into them. But as I said, it's 2 or 3, 4 players.
I think it would be naive to say that, but at the same time, I mean, like, the amount of money that these teams are buying players for, it definitely is.
Aye, because we're just talking gate receipts. I mean, then you go to your pies and your bovrils.
St Mirren are the team that made a point of cutting it to one stand this season, and they posted pretty big losses.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Aye. Anyway, that's the St Johnstone recap for today. We don't play midweek, do we?
No.
No midweeks this week. So
The last midweek before the split scheduled in is Hearts, and that won't be in winter, thankfully.
aye. So no midweeks to talk about. Obviously, no European football this month for Celtic either. So
That's us.
that's us. Aye, that's a podcast done for the season next year. So we'll go for the wee half-time quiz now. Our quiz leader, our man, he is not able to provide us with a quiz. He's no available because he was at the game. He said he's no drinking. Do I believe that? I don't know. But he's not drinking, and he's not managed to get back to me, and I forgot to ask him earlier. So it's up to me today to make up a quiz, and we're going for the Who's That Tick, because simply it's the easiest one to go for, because all I have to do is look up a player and see who they played for before and after. So we're going to do Who's That Tick. Feel free to join in at home for a half-time quiz today, and I've got 2 players in front of me. So the last quiz we done, Kieran, you won, did you?
Don't think so.
No, I think it was McGinley maybe.
Because there was a whole fucking uproar because.
There was the tiebreaker, and he got closer, didn't he? I remember. But since you did play in the last one, I'll let you choose if you'd like to go for player A or player B.
Player B.
Oh, you're going for player B. Right, okay, right. Callum, okay, your player. So the clue for this one today is both of these players played for Celtic in the year 2010. So they would have made an appearance for Celtic in the year of 2010. So there's your clue. So Callum, your player joined Celtic from... Now, and listen to my wording here. He didn't join from MNW, he played for the Youth Academy. So he came straight from the Youth Academy, but we did sign him from another Youth Academy, which was Belvedere, right? And he left Celtic to go to CSKA Sofia. So there's your clue. Now, as always, I'll kind of give you another couple of wee ones just to kind of make it a wee bit easier. So currently, he's 33 years of age and still playing football. And he's still playing football in Scotland as well. But he's been a bit of a journeyman.
I think I know who it is.
Killian Sheridan.
It is. Well done, Callum. Killian Sheridan is the correct answer. Made obviously, well, not obviously, but he made 14 appearances for Celtic, scoring 4 goals in that time. And ever since he's been at, here's a list of all the clubs he's been at: Motherwell, Plymouth, St Johnstone, CSK Sofia, Kilmarnock, Apoel, Ammonia, Jagiellonia, Bialystok, Wellington Phoenix, Aroni, Kiryat Shmona, Wisła Plock, and Dundee. So he's
Quite the CV in
He's
it.
been about. He's certainly been about. He's been capped 3 times for the Republic of Ireland as well. Fun story about Killian Sheridan. He once tweeted about the Chippy in Easterhouse Shopping Centre, which I thought was bizarre. My man and dad go there every fucking morning for their breakfast. They don't get a Chippy for their breakfast. They do other foods as well in the cafe. But aye, Killian Sheridan. There you go. Kieran, I think yours is a bit more difficult, mate.
I'm fucking always I always back around, man.
So, once again, played for Celtic in the year of 2010. So he signed for Celtic from Wigan Athletic, and he left Celtic to join Al Ali.
It's no that Kamara, is it?
I'll give you, since I gave one to Callum, I'll give one to you. He is no longer playing football. He's 42 years of age, and he is French.
Landry Nguemo.
Is that your guess?
No. I'm not
Surprisingly, made 9 appearances for the French international side. No?
No.
Just giving up. Do you have a guess, Cal?
Not get a fucking
How does the name Oliver Capo sound to you?
terrible.
Do you remember Oliver Capo?
Apparently no.
No, you don't remember him. So Oliver Capo, he played for Juventus, Monaco, a couple of big clubs, Birmingham as well, another big club. So Oliver Capo played for Celtic in 2010 to 2011, only making 2 appearances for the Hoops. One of those names, I feel like, because he was like French and had a bit of, hanging around and played for Juventus, there's a wee bit of excitement, but it never quite worked for him. In fact,
Apparently I wasn't that excited.
yeah, I know. He was released in January 2011. Apparently, he claimed that he walked out of the club because they had unilaterally changed the terms of his contract. So there you go. So 2 appearances he managed in that whole time. Al Ahly career kind of went down south from there. So there you go. There's the 2 players today. Let us know how you got on in the comments if you managed to get any of them. But well done, Callum. A wee win for you this week.
First one I've ever run.
Keep it going. Take the momentum into the next one. Right, so the next thing I wanted to talk about, I don't even know how many minutes we are into this because the things are there and I don't know what time we started it, so
We started about like 4ish, I think.
4ish. Well, it's 37 minutes past, so I'm imagining we're about 40 minutes into the show. The transfer window's closed, it's over, it's done, business has been concluded, but Ange Postecoglou sent a very brutal message out, a very honest message during the week that we kind of touched on in the opening part of the show, talking about the Georgios Giacomakis situation. So Giacomakis' transfer should be finalised over the next couple of days to Atlanta, but according to Ange Postecoglou, we'll find out before him if we have Instagram. Kieran, he didn't sound best pleased.
Nah, I don't think. I mean, at the time we were trying to put, everybody was sort of playing it down, like all the stuff he was putting, like the wee egg timer and that on his story. I mean, everybody knew he was away, but I don't know if it was the best way to conduct yourself, maybe. But I mean, I'm not going to hold any grudges, but apparently Ange might. He doesn't seem like a man you'd want to be on the wrong side of.
No, I would
Seems
not.
like he could be a scary bastard when he wants to be. I mean, you see the videos of him when he was the Australia manager and he's fucking screaming at him. I'm like, oh, sorry.
Sorry, boss. Sorry, boss. Calm. I think I like this though because I think for years, and I love Giacomakis and I wish him the best with his career. I don't think that necessarily we have to look at his exit with any malice. Obviously the manager doesn't seem best pleased, but he gave it his all at Celtic. He feels like it's time to move on, yada yada. But I'm glad to see Ange thinking the way he thinks. Like it's not on his radar anymore. He doesn't want to hear about it. He wants to focus on the group of guys we've got just now, which I think is lovely.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you would much rather that he did have his head fully concentrated on the players that's with us now instead of players that are departing for the club. I mean, realistically, now it's not really any of his problem what happens with Giacomakis.
Yeah.
Also, we wish him all the best, obviously, with moving away and that. Obviously, it would have been better if he could have stayed, but at the same time, you don't really blame the guy, do you? I mean, he's 28, supposed to be the peak of his career just now. You need to be playing as much as possible.
Aye. So Ange did speak to Sky Sports. I think it might have been before the game, might have been yesterday, talking about the transfer situation. His quote was, "I said we have to be aggressive, not reactive. There was an opportunity in this window. I had an inkling that at least a couple of significant players would move on, and Josip and particularly Giacomakis. So I really thought it was important to get ahead of the game there and get in players to replace them. If we didn't lose those players in the window, I was comfortable with that as well, as was the club. There wasn't a need to sell anyone. It was a unique opportunity for us. The boys moved on. With the business we've done, if Giacomakis goes through, we've moved on 2 players who are 27 and 28 and brought in 4 who are under 24 for an awful lot less money. And I think that makes us stronger long term." Kieran?
I mean, it's forward planning. It's exactly what he warned us he was going to be doing a few months ago, and I think, I mean, he said that ages ago, and I think people sort of brushed off the comment, but then it came to the reality, like, he's not going to be like, I can't remember his exact phrasing a few months ago, but it was basically along the lines of, "I will sell favourites." Like, it's no, because he's somebody that's very well known for no getting too involved with the players itself. I think he sort of keeps a distance between him and the players, and it keeps it a more professional relationship. He's not got any, as he said many times, he's not got favourites and that, but fans are not going to be happy because certain players are going to move on, and he's not going to have the sort of sentimentality that we've had with previous players and managers and that sort of stuff. So, I mean, if you want to move forward as a club, this is the model that I think a lot of clubs follow, where there's going to be quite a few ins and outs every year. You're not got the squad's got to get changed up. I mean, you've seen in the past, keep my squad the same for quite a lengthy period of time can be quite damaging.
Yep.
You can see that at Celtic and at other clubs as well. So, I mean, I think it is going to be a case of refreshing the squad and, every season and a half. So, I mean, it's expected, but I think obviously when the reality actually comes and you're like, we quite liked him, he was decent, but it's just not the way the world works.
No, it is not, I suppose. But Callum, touching on the 4 signings that we've made, just overall, I've gave my opinion time after time throughout the last couple of weeks on my channel. But what you make of the business then? Because obviously we signed Awata, Kobayashi, Johnston, and O as well. So four good signings. Say a successful window.
Definitely. I mean, I think we've strengthened in the wee bits that we needed to. We've had a right back in before Juranovic had even get his deal agreed and that, which is nice to have the business done early. I think it'd just be nice to see more game time for a couple of them. I think also for what we've seen at Kobayashi, when he get his starts, I thought it was quite solid. It was nice to have an actual left-footed centre-back playing, and that side they looked a lot more comfortable. And then the likes of O obviously was unlucky when he came on his debut, obviously gets that ball in, obviously the last kick of the ball made, plays it over the bar, but no, I think it'd be nice to get a couple of more game time.
Yeah.
I mean, I touched on it earlier, but I do think, I mean, I know we say we take it one game at a time, but I think with the cup final being at the end of this month, I don't think he's going to want to rotate the squad too much, because I think he's going to want to go into that game with players that have been playing consistently together for a few games in a row. And, like, 'cause, I mean, I think you might start seeing a bit more, I think you have seen it a bit more recently, but, like, in the front three especially, like, a bit more consistency in who's playing every week. But I think you'll probably see that in the games to come up until the cup final, because I think he's got to be chopping and changing it every week. I know you want to keep it fresh somewhat. I mean, see as well, have you noticed, like, Abada taking a bit of stick?
Abada, I feel. Do you know the thing is with Abada? Ever since he's been a Celtic player, I feel like he's been in and out of stick. Just because he goes in a good run and then he'll be quiet, and then that kind of reflects on what his social media opinion is.
I know. I mean, like the day I seen him getting brought on, then Haksabanovic, people talk about he's not getting any game time and that. And then, I mean, he came back to injury, then and got injured again. So it's like, I mean, then people saying, "Oh, I'd rather him playing at Abada. Abada's been fucking shite and all that." So it's like, I think we're just a fickle bunch.
We're very fickle. That I guess that's it's great when things go well at Celtic, but I think the downfall is when it goes so well, then, you know, the things that you have to moan about, because people love to moan. It's human nature. You've got to moan about something.
We all love it.
You love a moan, so it just makes these wee moans even more prevalent. And that's just annoying, because obviously when we were doing shite COVID season, everybody was in unison moaning, so there wasn't a big thing, but now you just get the wee kind of ones that trickle in and just makes it a bit frustrating. My point I was going to make though, about the transfer window, did I blow your ear there?
Oh, you fucking
Sorry, I blew my ear there. The point I was going to make though, do you know what I find crazy though? Hey, it depends on who leaves, obviously, but this summer transfer window, I'm like, right, where the fuck, who do we sign now? Because I feel like the team's perfect. I'm like, what do we do?
I think that's why we're not in charge of the team. I mean, obviously we look at it and I think I'm pretty content with the squad, but I mean, realistically, if you do want to improve the players that you think are pretty class,
absolutely,
the manager's looking like there's better players out there. So I think, and that's another point about players are going to get replaced, and you might sort of be taken aback thinking, why the fuck are we replacing them? But I think we've just sort of grown a wee bit too content with no improving in Europe and that. I think that is probably the next step to try and get the squad up to a level to maybe not compete properly in the Champions League, but to give yourself a better showing. I mean, I don't think it was the worst group stage last year, but I think Ange knows that it could be 10 times better, and he knows that there's certain parts of the squad that even though the rest of the fan base will be happy with, he'll be looking at it thinking we can level up in the positions. And I think a few of the questions that we've been asked today, I've seen a couple sort of tailored towards that about positions that, I mean, everybody's been happy with Greg Taylor this season, but I mean, realistically, going into the Champions League, I can only imagine left back's a position that Ange will be looking at thinking we could probably level up there.
Yeah, it's mad we've kind of went full circle with that, because we got Bernabei, and then like we're back like maybe thinking, you know, but I guess it's only time will tell. We've got another half of the season.
That's not even a slight on Taylor. Taylor's been brilliant this season, but I mean, I'm just looking at positions that can easily be identified that if you want to take it to the next level in Europe especially, then there's certain players that definitely are expendable. Maybe not to most of the fan base, myself included, but to Ange who's in charge of making these decisions, he's definitely no content with that squad at a European level anyway.
No, I agree. Well, if we want to make progress in Europe, which we'll obviously talk about a lot more towards the end of the season, we're certainly going to address these things. But I think that wraps up basically everything. And anything to bring to the table that we've not. We've got questions obviously to go into, but anything at all.
When it comes to mind.
Because there's not a midweek game. I don't know.
Yeah, there's no point talking about St Mirren. Yes,
Will we be back?
I don't know. Just need to wait and see what happens. We might be back in before. What day is St Mirren? Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday 5:30.
Saturday at 5:30. So we'll see when the next episode is. It might be before, might be after. Who knows? We'll figure it out during the week. My intention is to get up the road and eat and breathe, and then move on from there. Your face says, "Oh, Kieran, I don't know what I was saying." Right, okay, we're ready for Twitter questions then. Just for a wee bit of fun, a wee bit of laugh, No McGinley this week, so I would ask him to read them out maybe, but he's not here, so I've just got them up anyway. Right, my God, first question isn't what I expected to see. It's from Adam the lad. Have you seen this already? Have you thought about your answer?
Well, not in a great depth.
Right, so Adam's question is, if you were to go on a date with Laura Woods, one could dream, if you were to go on a date with Laura Woods, what activity, pub and restaurant would you take her to?
Take her to Bar 67 and send a photo of Alan McCoy's.
Get up, yeah. What about you, Cal?
Town Tavern.
Take her to Town
Just all this shite.
Take her to Ali's when the night's done. That's a good shout. I don't know, I feel like she'd be one that's difficult to please, I feel like she'd want high end sort of, she's expecting you to go to fucking the Merchant City, pay top dollar, good cocktails, for me I'll be taking her to Greer's at the Shopee and we go to McDonald's drive through after it's finished. No me driving obviously, And a taxi up the road, stick a film on, that's my ideal night for me and Laura Woods. Well, imagine that happened. Right, Cal is in rank and order. Right, this is interesting because my answer's simple and he's actually put it in the order I'd put it. He says rank and order: Black Rooster, Nando's and Pepe's. That's my exact order: Black Rooster, Nando's, Pepe's.
Never had a Pepe's, so I'm going to say
Shite.
the last.
Shite. Don't like it at all.
Pepe's is alright. I don't think it deserves the slander, but I don't know. I've been taking a real liking to Nando's recently, but in terms of, I've had more Black Roosters than I have Nando's.
I think Black Rooster, I have Black Rooster less than I have a Nando's, but Black Rooster's just got more options. Wider, extensive menu, you can say.
A bit cheaper as well.
A bit cheaper. It won't be long, though. Won't be long.
Nando's are robbing bastards.
They are. I paid £30.
I've seen your fucking meal. I make King Henry VIII want to go to his bed, man.
Oh, I'm a hungry boy. Don't get out often. Right, next question. Right, so what you went actually? Where did you go?
I'll go to order it was in.
So Black Rooster, Nando's, Pepe's.
Boringly enough.
So we're all the same. Right, okay. Well, that was simple. Cheers, Cal. Anyway, Slimbappy, you will be a member of one Celtic player who played in the past decade's coaching staff. They will fight.
So a Celtic player for the past 10 years.
Right.
They have hired you as part of their coaching staff.
All right, they will fight Conor McGregor in a boxing fight with no weight class restrictions that will take place in 2 years' time. Who do you choose?
So you'd coach up this player to fight Conor McGregor.
Right. Right, okay. Right, sorry, my bad, Slimbappy.
Artur Boric.
Oh, yeah, what a shout, by the way. What a shout. I'm going Dan Majstorovic. He's just got like he's got a fighting name. You can picture Bruce Buffer getting in Dan Majstorovic. Everybody's like, hey. So I'm going to him. What about you, Kel?
I don't know.
There's a few good options anyway. Boric, as we've said.
This guy's a pure psycho, but you could probably train up Olivia and Cham to be a fucking animal in the octagon. I can see that.
I'm sticking with Majstorovic. He's my answer.
He's a geary.
He's a geary.
He's one to come into a wee cycle.
I can actually imagine him storing about the ring, fucking gum shield getting put in.
I'm thinking a UFC fighter, but I don't like UFC. But
Jose Aldo.
I've got like, do you know what? It might actually be Jose Aldo. I'm thinking, I don't know, but I've got a pure clear picture of somebody in my head that I could see as a geary being. Right, Paul McFarlane. Now that Ange has the base squad that he wanted, should he now buy 2 or 3 next level players in the summer for the Champions League in his quest for the knockout stages of Europe? This should be phase 2 of the Ange Ball project.
That was what I was just referring to there when I was talking about the questions. I think that is probably something you will see in the summer, but It's well known about outgoings as well of big players within the squad currently. But no, I do think he will try to level up a few positions.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I'm not going fucking anything else to say.
Okay, Callum, you in agreement?
Pretty much.
Aye.
I just need to keep the squad moving forward.
Simply. Anthony Devine, is Aaron Mooy the greatest player on earth? Yes. Simply put. Elliot, he says, do you think that players like Turnbull will possibly like to move on in the summer with there seemingly being no way into the lineup for him? Well, Callum, that kind of comes back to what I asked you earlier. Do you think that leaving would ever cross the mind of Turnbull?
See, I don't know. I think it all comes down to probably the next 6 months, depending on how much game time he sees between now and the end of the season. I think if he's not seen as much as he would like, I think you could see him try to push for a move or that in the summer. Because again, he's one of the players. He is a good enough talent. He could play in any team up here in Scotland. Probably for a good few championship teams down south as well.
See, my thinking with Turnbull is obviously there was interest from Norwich, and he was reportedly going to head there right before we signed him. And I think that now, if his agent went out and sounded out interest from maybe lower end Premier League sides, a Bournemouth for example, if there was somebody like that who was interested, if we go on and win a treble this season, I could see Turnbull being the kind of player and turn around and go, right, I've done it all. I've accomplished what I wanted to at Celtic. Maybe it is the best for my career to move on.
I'm going to say I think he will go in the summer.
Do you think so?
Maybe not even for both men Premier League. I think if he looks at top end Championship, like the teams
Chance
that
of promotion.
will probably come up, like your usual suspects. So I could definitely see him looking at that as a favourable move, especially if he's not getting game time. And
Tony Mowbray, Sunderland.
I mean, he was going to go to Norwich first time, decided he was going to come to us.
Fuck the medical.
Transfer didn't go through because of that, and then he came to us eventually. But I mean, how many years have he got left in his deal? But because I mean, we gave him a 4 or 5 year deal because we signed him in summer 2020. That's 3 years ago this year.
Yep.
So
that's 2 years left in his deal.
1 or 2 years left.
I'll tell you right
Celtic
now,
will
according to
look sell him.
Transfermarkt, his contract ends on 2024.
Celtic will look to sell him in the summer, I think. And
Yeah.
unless he has a good run in the team.
I don't see him
between
signing a contract.
No, but we're going to sell him a year left in his deal. Or if he gets a proper good run in the team, give him a new year or two.
That's what happened with Christie, hasn't it? Year left. And that's how we'd only got, what, 2.5 million quid
we've
for
got a
him,
lot of
something like that. So, do you know what, Kieran? I could see that happening.
I think it's a realistic prospect.
Yeah. Right, who is the better trim, Aaron Mooy or Dyson Maida?
I mean,
Tough.
see, have you seen the photo and it's like Maida with like a wig on?
I have seen that. I have.
And then I also seen the photo of Aaron Mooy with his hair. None of them suits any hair on that head. So neither. I'm
going to go for Maida.
Just because he's got the wee.
He's got the goatee. Right. Max with a question that ponders the thought. For me, when Haksabanovic gets back to full fitness, he walks into the starting lineup. Thoughts?
I think we've seen enough of him to make outlandish statements.
I know. Obviously, I'm a huge Haksabanovic fan. He's like my favourite player, right? And I think that at his absolute best, he probably is a calibre of player who gets into the starting 11 week after week. But I think that obviously it comes down to proving that, and then obviously Maida is playing well, Jota is playing well.
I hope he does get the chance to get minutes, but because you don't want to see somebody unintentionally phased out sort of thing where he's not getting a look in. But I suppose it is down to him in training to show that he should be getting the minutes ahead of people that are bad in that coming off the bench. So I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. I think St Mirren will be interesting to see if we do swap any players into the starting 11 for that, because as it stands I don't see it happening, but you never know.
Right. Sideshow Bob, shout out to him because he always gets in, but we've basically covered both parts of his question. It's about Mooy coming in and being outstanding, and Greg Taylor's getting credit that he deserves. We've kind of covered both of that, but shout out to.
I was going to say, here's a question. What is Moy's contract with us? Is it
It's up in the summer?
Is it?
But I think there's an option to trigger a year extension, so
Definitely
we'll do that, I think. Right, Callum, what's the best chant for any Celtic player ever? It's a question from Crefo CM. It's not actually his question, but I've changed the word in it. Best Celtic chant ever.
Carlton Cole.
As a Chelsea. I know. I think I'll never get over the Stuart Armstrong song. That's my favourite.
That's a tune.
Is that yours as well, Stuart Armstrong? Love that. That or Arthur Boric is the holy goalie. They're my two.
Armstrong edges it for me.
Is it? What about you, Kieran?
Scott Sinclair.
So I got Sinclair one.
Aye.
It's a shelter, a
love that
belter. It's a shelter. Okay, and he also asked, do you know what? We always get questions about what's your chippy order, what's your fucking Indian order, what's your Chinese order. Like, we always get those sort of questions. But ultimately, have we ever had asked what is the best fast food place? Like, not even category. Like, what's your go-to fast food place? Like, that you can get just anywhere you can go and get your food fast.
This sounds like the exact same question, but you've just reworded it, like in a way to try and make it sound different.
Well, what is your favourite one? What is your fucking go-to?
I don't know. I always actually change it up.
I know you do, to be fair. Every Sunday it's something different getting cycled to your house.
Fuck it. No, they're odd. They're lying bastards. the last time he said that he was on a bicycle, I'm like, that bicycle's got 4 wheels. I
think mine's is McDonald's. As boring, as basic bitch as it is, mine's is McDonald's.
I like trying like the new shit, but they bring it like every month or whatever. That's a good rough Sunday when that's.
Callum, what's yours?
Recently I've been quite enjoying KFC.
Oh no.
KFC,
It's
I've
used
been
to be
kind of
wraps.
falling away
The
from.
wraps are good, to be fair. That's literally all I'll go
That's
for
been my
nowadays.
go-tos for them, but I know, I think it probably is McDonald's overall, isn't it?
Fucking love it.
Let's not get Kieran started on flaming raps now. We'll be here all fucking week. The flaming rap podcast, episode 1. Right, when will we score a goal that won't be checked by VAR? That's a very good question for Keith, to be fair. Do you think Kyogo will score 30 goals this season? And where does he rank amongst strikers since Larsson departed the club, says Caden?
I mean, if he stays injury free, then hopefully he can hit the 30 goal mark in all
I think he will.
competitions. So, but I mean, it's mental. See, when you look at how many games he actually played last year, like he's already surpassed that, like by a good few games already. But he was really unlucky with injury last season. I think he only played like 15 games in the league last year.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
You actually don't realise. I mean, Yakimak's played a big part, but I don't like the whole best since Larsson debate because people have very strong opinions on it. Some people have very wrong opinions on it. So I just think it's quite a lot of unnecessary pressure to heap on players.
Do you know what I'm going to do for a summer podcast? Because I just want to settle it once and for all. I'm going to put effort in to make props, and I'm going to get all 4 of us to sit around the table, and I'm going to make a big chart, and I'm going to put every single striker from Larsson's departure onwards, and we're going to sit at this table, and we're going to, because it'll probably be the length for this fucking table, to be honest, if we're including players like Bangura. We're going to do a full podcast rank. We're going to do that. I like the sound of it. We're going to get a big fuck off chart, Larsson at the top, and then we're going to work our way all the way down.
We're going to have a wage for that.
We're going to have a camera dangling for the roof, and it's going to go down on the list. We're doing it.
The production value of this podcast.
And the title of it's simply going to be Settling the Debate. Who is the best?
Dangle McGinley for it. Dangle McGinley for it.
What's your thought?
Is pans the camera into him.
Turns up, fucking bomb through the table, clash everywhere. We're going to do that. I like it for you. Keep that. Remind us, listeners, avid listeners, remind us that I said we're going to do that. And then finally, the last question for today: what is your thoughts on Aaron Mooy's balls?
Fantastic.
Smooth.
Just had to make it weird.
So that's it. That's all the questions. Thank you everybody for your contributions to the show as always. I mean, I don't know when we will be back. We've got to sit and figure it out. It might be during the week. It might be after St Mirren. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see when we're back. Because obviously it's quieter now. Windows shut.
Is St Mirren the quarter-final? Or is that
no, me and Cam were talking about this in the car.
And I thought it was like the 5th round.
Aye,
and then goes into the
quarter-final. I'm not sure. Let me check. Let's see. Scottish Cup fixtures. 'Cause I thought it was the last round before
I think
Hampden.
this might be the last 16.
So
I think I misspoke earlier and said
2, 4,
quarter-final.
6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Last 16. Because there's Hamilton Hearts, Ayr Elgin, Rafe Motherwell, Dundee United Killie, Livy Inverness, us St Mirren, Rangers Thistle, and Darvel and Falkirk. So hopefully Darvel beat Falkirk and we get Darvel in the next round. And then
I mean,
all was good.
I'm trying to think. We probably do it like after. I mean, that will be the Monday night, wouldn't it? They put Darvel Falkirk.
Aye, that's 7:45.
Then we'll know who the next round opponent is after that. So.
Aye, coming for a live reaction to the draw. Right, okay, that does it this week then. Wraps everything basically up. Callum, thanks very much.
Thanks for having us.
You can now go back to your bed.
Thank fuck.
Kieran, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
You now can go back to your bed.
Yes.
And I'll go back to my bed as well. Well, actually, I've got a podcast to edit, so then I'll be in my bed. Right, thanks for listening. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.